never don't say it.
I know it's a big when Jenna shows up. I know. I didn't know you were here. I would have done better.
All right, we're now going to roll into our post-race press conference here at Nashville Superspeedway, and we've been joined by today's race-winning crew chief, Alan Gustafson, for today's Ally 400. It's been a long day, right, guys? Yes. So, Alan, before we roll straight into questions, just give us a little bit, as Jenna just kind of joked and told us, it has been a long day for a crew chief standpoint. You guys had a lot of things to navigate, from, lightning holds to actual rain and red flags, and then just, the racing part of it. Just from your kind of seat today, tell us a little bit about what that looked like before having the opportunity to celebrate with your team in Victory Lane.
Yeah, I think for us, we were super optimistic coming in. We had a pretty good car on Friday, practice, and qualified decent and had some track position. So felt good about it and didn't start the race very good, and the car wasn't driving great. So had a lot of work to do and started to work on the car, and then had a pit stop issue, which kind of got us behind, but ultimately helped a little bit because we had an opportunity to work on the car a little bit more, which then from then on, I think the car was in good, in a good position and driving really well. So we were able to make up ground. And yeah, I mean, the rain delays and lightning delays, I mean, certainly there's nothing we can do about that. We just have to work through it and stay focused and use that time to our advantage to have a plan to move forward and execute. And once we got back through that rain, our car was really good and competitive, and we executed well. I think from then on, it was kind of this, tale of two races for us. We were bad news bears to start, and then at the end, we got it right, and we're really good.
All right, we're going to open for questions. If you have a question, raise your hand, and we'll get to the mic to you. All right, we're going to start. We'll start in the back, and then we'll make our way up front, and then we'll head to the back as well.
All right. Jared Haas with FrontStretch.com. My question is with the tire wear. How did it wear comparative to the day part of the race to the night part of the race, and how much did that influence your call to stay out for Elliott?
Yeah, I mean, tire wear wasn't really an issue for us. Our tire wear was good, but the fall off was less certainly at night. You could see the lap time fall off was less, and that played into the end. I think regardless in that circumstance, we were probably going to stay out, but certainly the fact that the fall off was less as the track cooled down contributed some.
All right, we'll go to Jenna.
What was the penalty for?
Did we get a penalty?
That's what Chase keeps saying.
No, I think we just went to the back on our own accord.
You had made some changes on pit road?
Well, we had the potential loose wheel, so we backed him up in the stall, tightened the wheel to make sure it was okay. Then obviously we were going to be at the back at that point in time, so then we came back in and worked on the car a little bit more, handling-wise, chassis-wise.
And then he said that you guys were able to make a lot of changes during the rain.
We had changed, I can't remember I thought that pit stop issue was before the rain. It was before the rain. No, we had made all of our changes to that point, and then ultimately never got too much chance to show it. We went to the back, and we were like 16th at the rain delay. So, yeah.
So he's completely confused on
everything.
everything.
A little bit, but we won't call him out too bad.
We'll disregard everything he said.
Yeah.
So you guys stay out. Everybody comes, all the guys you're racing for the win come in. Did the 9 other guys staying out put the separation that locked that up for you? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that was the difference. I mean, I think, the 18 for sure. 19 was really good. 18 was really good. 18 was really fast on a short run. So, I mean, yeah, if he lines up anywhere near us on new tires, it's game over. But, my expectation was he wasn't going to get that close. And I feel like there was going to be enough, and it typically is. It's really tough, right? I mean, there's enough chaos in front of you that you just can't go anyway. So that's what we were hoping for. And ultimately, there was, I guess you said 9 or whatever, but 10. There were, when I saw there was 4 or 5 legit good cars, right? The guys that weren't going to be easy to pass. And when I saw that, I felt better. You never know. But then you can't just sit there and say, oh, Kyle, well, you got to focus, shift your focus to Kurt. I mean, he's no slouch. I mean, the guy's a great race car driver, right? I mean, he just won at Kansas, and that team's been doing really well. So, I mean, you got Kurt and you got Kyle Larson and Ryan, all those guys, super good drivers and good teams. So, had to execute, regardless.
All right. We'll go to Mark and then Steven.
Mark Caro, PRN. Congratulations.
Thank you.
You get points in both stages. You get some more playoff points with the win. You're still in position, of course, to get the 15 for the regular season championship. What does this win do in moving towards that goal? So you other than not getting the stage wins, you kind of got everything tonight.
Yeah, I mean, that's the position we're in right now. I think most of the guys, whatever the 12 certainly that have won are focusing on that, right? I mean, that's kind of the key now, is to get as many playoff points as you can, so you position yourself as best as possible when it re-racks, because anything can happen. There's still a lot of time between now and then. So we're obviously working to win every race, but when you're there, the points and playoff points are the focus.
So is that a goal to the point where that's part of your strategy planning every week, or you just stay on offense and just hope for the best?
Yeah, I mean, I wish it was a bit more glamorous, but that's kind of what I try to do every week. So you just, I mean, if you're leading the points or you're wherever you're at, you're trying to win, and you're trying to win stages, and you're trying to lead laps and have the best car possible. And I mean, are we in a position to maybe take a few more gambles now than we would have if you're somebody else? Certainly, but I don't think it's significantly different.
All right, Stephen, go ahead.
Stephen Toronto, CBS Sports. Alan, I don't mean to drudge up bad memories when you're kind of riding the high of a
Of course you
victory.
don't.
Yeah,
Let's
I
not
know.
do it.
I-
Next.
I have to.
Charlotte, let me guess, this is Charlotte. You're asking me about Charlotte?
Yes,
Oh,
actually,
awesome. Love it.
Yeah.
Perfect.
So anyway, you know
Yes.
what the
Did I mess
scenario
up
was.
Charlotte? Yes.
Was
No,
that
strike
in the
me
back
down,
of your
Mike.
mind when that caution came out and you had to make the decision whether to stay out and hope everyone else behind you, or hope enough other drivers stayed out and you'd be able to stay out front, or come in and risk everyone else staying out?
Yeah, I mean, it's how anything you do in life is based on your experiences, right? I mean, everything you do. So certainly that factors in the decisions I make is, unfortunately, the bad ones are the ones that always get brought up, but, all the good ones factor into my decision-making process too, So I don't know. Did I think about Charlotte? Do I think about Charlotte? Do I get reminded of Charlotte? Yes. Yes, I do, unfortunately. Yes. Was it a huge influence on what we had to do here? Not really.
Right. Were there any other times in the past where you elected to stay out and it worked out? Just so we don't keep drudging up bad memories.
Yeah,
Let's
there's
dredge
a
up
lot
new
of them.
ones.
I mean, I can't think of top of my head. I mean, probably the coolest one was with Mark Martin at Loudon and whenever that was, because. Yeah, that was. I mean, I don't know. Like, there's certainly ones that we've that I've stayed out and won. I won a race with Kyle at Phoenix staying out. So yeah, like I got to go through the Rolodex here, but there's quite a few that's happened. So.
Right. Just so that's on
I
the
won
record.
Dover with Chase staying out.
Oh yeah.
How about
that's
that
right.
one? Yeah,
There we
got a
go.
few. We got a few.
Yep. All right. Make
Cool,
sure.
thanks.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
All right, we'll add those to the notebook. Okay, we're going to go Nate and then up front, please.
Nate Ryan, NBC Sports. Alan, there was one move, I can't remember when it was, but there was a restart where Chase passed 5 cars in a half a lap. Can you give us your perspective on that?
Yeah, that was. I felt like that was kind of the moment in the race where I was like, all right, we should win this race. Ultimately, I didn't feel like we were going to pass the 18 and 19 at the time on equal ground. So I wanted to get off sequence with them there. And when I did, not as many people pit as I had hoped. So we were a little bit further back, and he got back to what you're referencing, 4th or 5th in no time. And I was like, this gives us a huge advantage, and I think it's a testament to how good the 19 was. It just really took us a long time to pass him, but then certainly we got past him and were able to track Kyle down in pretty quick order there. So, yeah, that was a big deal. restarts typically aren't our forte and our strength, and Chase did an amazing job with that, and that was really the first kind of indication. I knew we were getting better. You just don't know how good you are because we weren't really in the best track position, and that was the first indication. I was like, all right, this thing's pretty good.
Chase isn't conservative, but he's not really known for that kind of aggression.
Yeah,
Did that take your breath away a little bit?
Yeah, no, it just fires you up. You're like, all right, here we go. And like you said, he's not conservative at all, but he's just a guy, he's a very calculated driver and doesn't put himself in bad positions. So when I knew he had that much confidence in the car, then I knew it was that good.
And then I know you've talked a little bit about points, but this gives you 13 playoff points, and you're tied with Byron and Chastain now for first, which I know is, you've still got 9 races to go in the regular season. But where does that, I guess, position you? Does it give you some confidence for the championship hunt?
Yeah, I just think it's too early. I mean, look, it's good. I mean, you want to be the best at everything, right? You want to be the first in all the metrics that matter, and certainly that's what we strive to do. But it's just early. It's just a long way to go, and I don't know that the landscape's, right now how it's going to be. We just got to keep winning. We've got to keep accumulating points and put ourselves in the position, to score as many points as possible and try to, win the regular season and just stack them up. You just, don't know. I mean, certainly the Gibbs cars have been running a lot better, and who knows where it's going to go in the future. We just got to do everything we can to stay on top.
Yeah, Chase, I know it was in comparison to the fairgrounds when you had fears of a snooze fest here. I'm curious, a couple times through it now, what kind of racing do you feel like this track has given you guys, and was tonight, exciting in that way?
I like boring races that we lead every lap, so I'm probably the wrong guy to ask. So I mean, I don't, and that's up to you guys to decide. I want to make it as boring as I possibly can.
All right, we're going to go back to Dustin.
Dustin Long, NBC Sports. Hey, Alan, there's been so much talk about this car can go to widely variant types of tracks compared to what you guys used to do. Obviously, you won at Dover. You went here at Concrete. Was this the same car? Were things able to carry over, or is this something that was a car that was run on the Bristol dirt or something?
I have no idea, to be honest with you. I don't know. I don't know where. I mean, they're all. It's not. We don't look at them the way we used to and categorize them, for certain types of tracks. So it very well could have raced anywhere. I have no idea.
Do you feel where do you feel you are in understanding this car and able to calculate what to do in terms of adjustments or look ahead as opposed to just trying to react?
Yeah, I mean, it's still early. We're still learning things. I mean, I feel like we came here with a little bit different philosophy from what we've been running. We had the off weekend to kind of work through it, so this isn't our typical package. It's slightly different. It's fairly different from Dover, so I don't know if it was better or worse, but it ran well. Yeah, I think everybody, my fear is there's not a ton of adjustment in the car, so everybody's going to kind of drive down in the bottom right corner, you know what I mean? It's just eventually everybody's going to get to a very, very similar place through experience and guys that are good at what they do. So I don't know that we've tapped everything, all the opportunity to get the car to drive good or get an advantage, so we'll keep working on it, but I hope that we can keep opening up new ways to get performance out of the car, because if not, I think everybody's going to get pretty close pretty quickly.
And the last thing is, so is it too early to see trends, or is everything just bouncing from week to week and nothing makes sense yet?
Well, I think you can. I mean, everybody can draw their own trend line they want to. To me, it's not. There's just like there was the night. There's probably a legit pick your number, 8 or so cars that can win the race, and the team that executes that the best and puts themselves in position at the end wins. I don't feel like there's really been a dominant car in a race all season, really, that I can think of.
All right. Any final questions for Alan? Okay, we'll have a follow-up with Jenna.
Thanks. Alan, with the 2 long delays, how do you keep the team motivated and focused, and the driver as well?
So the team, we just kind of came off of rough start, so everybody was pretty honed in and just yeah. So you just feel like you know, just were taking a beating. So like you're pretty much ready to avenge that. But for Chase, I just I felt like I needed to instill a little confidence in him that the car was improving and we were getting where we wanted to be. And it didn't take much, but I talked to him a little bit and just said, hey, with the way the car's driving, the way the lap times are, and as much ground as we made, even the restart when we went to the back before the rain delay, we had made some pretty good ground. I was like, look, we've got a really good shot here. We got to stay focused. So he's pretty easy. It's not hard, but yeah, I didn't want him to. I know he's in the car and driving hard, and then things happen, and then it's super easy to get frustrated and super easy to think that things are going to go bad, and where he's at, obviously based on what he's talking about, doesn't know the whole story all the time. So I just wanted to make sure that he knew that, hey, I was pretty confident that we were going the right direction. We were going to be in position to do what we needed to do.
You said it wasn't hard, but he said on Friday, he was saying how he just tells himself it's not hot. And he uses his positive thinking.
I love that. We talked about that a little bit today.
Thinker, and he does not think he's a positive thinker. So how is it not hard for you to rebuild his confidence?
I don't feel like I was rebuilding his confidence. I was just basically trying to say, hey, we're not going to screw it up anymore. Go do your job. That was kind of it. So I've always my philosophy as a crew chief's always been the same. Is my goal is always to make the drive the weak link, right? If he's the weak link, then I've done my job. The team's done their job, right? With him, it's not an easy thing to do because he's a pretty strong link, and obviously other guys that I've worked with, So that's what I try to do, and that was a little bit more of what I was describing. Is I was trying to say to him, hey. The word I was going to use, I'm not going to use. We're done, messing up, and we're going to get after it, right? So stick with us, bring your A game, all be good.
All right. Alan, thank you for spending
Yeah,
some time with
thanks.
us. We appreciate it. You are free to go.
Bob's got some questions about how you're now the concrete king, and
All right, we're going to
How the narrative changed.
continue now with our post-race press conference for today and tonight, I should say. Al 400, we've now been joined by our race winner, Chase Elliott, driver of the number 9 Napa Chevrolet for Hendrick Motorsports. Congratulations on the win, Chase. We appreciate you spending some time with us. We're going to roll straight into questions for Chase. If you have one, raise your hand. We'll work to get the microphone around, and we'll start with Larry Woody.
Chase, congratulations. How tough was it to maintain your focus during all those stops and starts and delays?
Yeah, it wasn't too bad. I feel like we've had that a good bit over the last few years since they implemented the lightning thing. So it wasn't. I didn't think it was too difficult.
All right. Mike, go ahead with your question.
Chase, how special is it considering you're closest to Nashville, your dad racing at the fairgrounds? Just how special is this to be a Nashville
Yeah,
race?
look, I wish we were at the fairgrounds, for the record, but I'm glad we're at least in the market, and this is a cool town. It's a great place to be. It's a great place to race. It's a town that I think embraces us. And we embrace the people that are here, and they stuck it out. I mean, heck, the crowd was still pretty good, I thought, for it to be 11 o'clock at night or whatever, and having started this thing 6 or 7 hours ago. So yeah, I thought we had a good crowd. Appreciate everybody sticking around, and it is close to home for me. So it's hard to win anywhere, but when you win kind of close to home like that, it is pretty special.
And what about after last year's disappointing race?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think the biggest thing was we just struggled here last year, so to have a struggle, a race here a year ago, and then to be able to come back and be as competitive as we were in the second half of the race, I am the most proud of that piece of the puzzle, I think, just to kind of reset and be able to reevaluate and get back going the right direction here.
All right. We'll just start. Yep.
Chase, I know you were talking relative to the fairgrounds a couple years ago saying snooze fest here, but you've been through a couple of races here now. How do you feel like it has stacked up, this track, when it comes to that, and especially tonight?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't think the race was terrible tonight. At least we could get up off the bottom and move around, which I thought was, encouraging. And I was even more surprised that we still moved up after the sun went down. I thought at that point it was going to be really one lane, and it really wasn't. You could still be in at least a couple different lanes, and it was way more racy than I thought it was, or I thought it would be. That still doesn't mean I prefer this over the fairgrounds and what that could be. I don't want people to get a sour taste about that. It's just that racetrack and the history of that racetrack and its location is just something that we're never going to replicate again. I mean, for the most part, all these facilities that we have are 45 minutes to an hour outside whatever said market is we're trying to reach. If it's Michigan or here, or Atlanta's 30, 45 minutes south of the city, like all these places we go, Homestead's an hour outside Miami, so all these places that we go, you're drawing from an area that is 45 minutes to an hour away. With the fairgrounds, you'd be drawing from an area that's 15 blocks away or so. Correct me if I'm wrong, on that, but it's a hell of a lot closer than it is here, and that's just not something that in today's society you're never going to build a racetrack in a city like that again. So that's why I think as an industry we need to take advantage of that. We don't need to let that place die. I mean, I know they built that big soccer stadium right next door, but use that as positivity, because the infrastructure is now there to house all the people. Now they have ideas and ways to get people in and out. So it's too good of a place, too good of an opportunity for us to not be utilizing that. In my opinion, I think it'd be the best location and best event of the year if they could pull that off.
Was your fear at the time that since you were going to be racing here that you may not be racing there, when actually it is possible you might?
Yes, for sure. I mean, I still worry about that a little bit, but it sounds like they're at least working on it. Unfortunately, I can't do a ton other than just voice my support for it. And I understand all the different sides of the puzzle there, and I respect that. But selfishly for us, I think it'd be a great event. And look, they're already racing there. Like folks seem to be doing just fine with the races that are going on, and you'd be talking about one big event a year there for us to come and be a part of it. So I think the positives outweigh the negatives, and I think there's a way to be respectful in doing so of the folks that live in the area and be able to do it in a positive light.
All right, we're going to go to Mark, and then we'll make our way back over here.
Mark Garrow, PRN. I've got two questions. First, Chase, is it enjoyable to win a race where you have some problems, you kind of go off the radar screen? The JGR cars led 250 of 300 laps. They were kind of going like, all right, one of us is going to snag this thing, and then you end up winning. Is it fun to win kind of off the radar?
Yeah, I mean, look, it's fun to win regardless, I feel like. But yeah, I was really proud. Look, proud of a couple things. One, proud of having the past month and a half, 2 months that we've had been horrendous. I've crashed about 10 times, and we've had a lot of stuff happen to end up having bad finishes, and you never want that, especially when it's anytime, whether it's in a string of races or not. You don't want that, period. So proud to be able to bounce back from a really rough stretch, and then proud to have struggled as bad as we did, as bad as we were at the beginning of the race, to be able to adjust on it, take advantage of the opportunities we had to try to fix it, and then to hit on it, and to be able to execute after we hit on it to finish the event strong is not an easy thing to do. So, our team, I feel like they do a great job when everybody's pulling in the same direction and is executing and doing their jobs to the best of their ability. I feel like we're as good as anybody, and tonight I felt like they really showcased their talents, not just on pit road with our pit stops being really solid, but Alan and Tom making really good adjustments and just staying on top of everything. So it was a good team win.
Speaking of which, as far as the points, you got stage points. You obviously get a big chunk for winning. You're now plus 30 over Chastain, 31 over Blaney, 47 over Kyle. How do you look at that gap with 9 races to go?
Well, I mean, I feel like no gap is safe, right? I mean, we had a pretty big one there at one point, and that can go away in a hurry. So look, you just have to keep bringing strong race cars to the racetrack. You have to keep putting yourself in position to win. When you're battling up front and you have shots to win, the points thing is going to take care of itself. You know, you might be faced, if you can achieve the first part of that, you might be faced with a situation here or there where you have to decide whether or not you want to get stage points or whether you want to try to go for the race win. And those things are, you know, that's just part of the world we live in now with stages, you know, but, you know, more so on road courses, I guess, than anything. But, you know, the best way to look at it is just try to be fighting for wins. And if we're doing that, I think the points thing will be, you know, it'll kind of take care of itself.
All right, Nate, go ahead.
Nate Ryan, NBC Sports. Chase, the restart where you picked up like 5 positions in like a half a lap or a lap or whatever, I asked Alan about that, and he said that was the point at which he felt like, all right, we've got the car to win this race. We've got to win this race. Your perspective on that, and did you feel like when you made that move, like that was when you knew you had the car to win?
I felt, you know, honestly I felt like our balance was good, at least when we had our penalty and we went to the back. And I was able to run some different lanes that I had not had the ability to run prior to that. And when that ability showed up for me, I thought, okay, you know, now I think we're in the ballpark. You know, and then as the race went on, you know, the restart thing, like you put anybody in the right situation and you can look like a hero, right? I don't think there's anything special I did. You know, you can take a car that isn't balanced as well as what ours was tonight and have the right lane choice and the right guys get bottled up at the right time, and you pass 3 or 4 of them, you know. So I don't necessarily think that was the turning point for me. I feel like it was more just a balance thing and feeling like we had got it really close. And then from there, just trying to execute and, you know, have good restarts up front and have good pit stops.
You can give yourself some credit, though. Looked like a video game type move.
It worked out. I mean, I mean, I feel like a lot of guys do that, you know, when people get bottled up off the corner and you have a head of steam, and I mean the lanes just kind of opened up for me, so it wasn't anything spectacular on my end. I didn't think, just kind of went where the options were.
And following up on the points thing, beyond just having the lead in the point standings, you're also now tied for playoff points lead with Byron and Chastain with 13 playoff points. So do you feel like you're positioned pretty well with all this talk about, you know, guys are going to fall out in the first round who we're not expecting? It seems like you're getting a little bit of a cushion.
Well, you want more than that, for sure. I mean, I don't think any cushion is safe in the playoff thing unless you have 7 or, you know, 6 or 7 wins, like some guys have over the last couple of years. At that point, then you're probably feeling much better about it, you know. But I don't think 2 in just a couple stage wins is going to give you the confidence to make dumb decisions, you know, in the beginning of the playoffs. So, look, I think everybody's vulnerable when the playoffs start, you know, especially as the rounds progress. I mean, you know, we have seen guys with those big cushions not make the last round. So I don't think anything's guaranteed. You certainly want to hedge your bet in that direction as much as you can, and every win helps that. Every stage win helps that. So that's something I want to achieve. We've never really put ourselves in a position like that to where we have a big cushion and, you know, we're able to kind of cruise through rounds. I feel like we've always had to scratch and claw for each round, which is fine, and I'm okay with that. But it would be nice to, you know, rack up some wins and hedge your bet more so for a potential bad day or something out of your hands.
All right, Steven, go ahead.
Steven Toronto, CBS Sports. Chase, now that we've had 2 races in Nashville, where exactly does this race rank among the competitors in terms of races that are coveted and that drivers want to win? Obviously, Nashville doesn't really have the recent history in NASCAR since there was a long gap between the 1980s and last year. So it's not necessarily like the Southern 500, the 600 in Charlotte, what have you, but it's pretty quickly become a destination race. There's a lot of hype around it. Obviously, the market's big, kind of like Las Vegas is almost, and obviously everyone also wants the Gibson guitar when you win this race. So where exactly does it rank?
Yeah, I mean, I think it just depends on what your personal thoughts are on the city or whatever, but I've enjoyed coming to Nashville. It's been one of my favorite towns for a number of years, you know, and have raced at the fairgrounds and had some special memories over there. So yeah, it's special to me because of that, you know. But I don't really know where it ranks amongst everyone. For me, every win is important and special to me because they're really hard to get. You know, I don't take any of them for granted. So they're all big, in my opinion. They're too hard to win, to not appreciate them, you know, in a pretty high regard.
Thank you.
All right, go ahead.
Jared Haas with FrontStretch.com. Before the 2022 season, you had 0 wins on concrete. Now you won at Dover and Nashville. What, with the next-gen setup and concrete tracks, have you kind of found on that you found this recent success on concrete tracks?
You know, to be honest with you, I don't know that it has anything to do with the next-gen thing. I feel like we've had good runs in the past at Bristol and Dover, and not necessarily here, but, you know, at least at Bristol and Dover, to where we've had shots at winning and, you know, haven't. But, you know, look, you get the right day, the right circumstance, and the right car balance, and everything goes your way, you can, you know, I feel like our team can have a shot. Unfortunately, today was that way for us, and we were able to get it done.
Thank you.
Yep.
All right, any additional questions? All right, we're going to go to follow-ups. We'll grab one from Jenna and then follow-ups for Dustin and Nate, and we'll wrap there. All right, Jenna, go ahead.
Back off, Nate. Chase, how much say, thought, anything do you have in staying out or pitting on that last caution?
I mean, I let Alan do his thing. You know, he lets me do my thing, so I'm gonna let him do his. You know, and just have confidence in that. It doesn't do me any good to not. You know, when I start questioning his decisions, I feel like is when we start going down a road that is not favorable for success. So he's had a lot of respect for me and let me do my job and let me approach things a pretty unique way and kind of be me. So I've always respected him in return and let him do his thing and just had confidence in whatever that decision is.
And when you walked in, he was answering a question about how, one, he keeps the team motivated and the driver motivated during those long weather delays. He said because the car had been so off at the start that the team was no problem, but that he did need to have a talk with you. What do you do during the delays, and how did that talk go between the two of you?
Yeah, I mean, it was straightforward. I mean, I think, you know, really we just talked about our balance. I mean, honestly, we just talked about where we were at the start of the day, what we did in practice on Friday, how we landed in the position we landed in to start the event, why we chose that, and why it wasn't working. And we tried to diagnose that to the best of our abilities, make a decision on which way we wanted to go, and we did that. And fortunately, it was the right decision. So just had dialogue about the car. You know, I feel like when you get into those situations or whatever it may be, you know, look, if it's not going to make you go any faster, it's probably not worth talking about. And talking about those things and how we ended up where we did is a fruitful thing to do in that time period. So that's what we did. I think probably what a lot of people do. It wasn't anything spectacular or really special, but you know, we were able to just kind of talk through some of that and go back in a direction that worked for us. And fortunately, you know, the condition changing and our adjustments ended up in a really good spot. No, I felt okay. I at the beginning of the race, no. I mean, I felt like we were really, really off. And then after we had our penalty, you know, like I was, or I'm sorry, yeah, whatever it was, yes, yeah, our extended stay on pit road. How about that? Whatever. We started in the back. So after we started in the back, and I was able to run some different lanes that I hadn't been able to do throughout the day. At that point, I felt like, okay, you know, we have something to work with again. Our car is driving like I remember it driving on Friday, and you know, from there we just kind of went to work and tried to execute the event the best we could. Yep.
All right, now that Jenna's got the non-penalty confirmed.
Sorry.
No, it's all right. No, I'm fine with it. So after the race, Chase.
Same difference, right? We started in the back.
Yeah, it's miscue, whatever. Kurt Busch was really beating himself up about the last restart. He said he kind of went soft. He wished he had thrown some fenders. Were you expecting a little bit more? Did it surprise you that he didn't kind of mix it up, or could he have even mixed it up in that position?
I mean, I feel like you're always going to look back and, want to do something a little different. But, I feel like Kurt and I race each other with a lot of respect. And obviously we're going for the win. We're going to be aggressive. I thought he was. We went off into turn one and we're both sliding, up the track. And then at that point I got position on him off of two. And then from there, I was just trying to manage my lanes, and if he was going to go in a lane that I thought might be really advantageous to him, I probably would have shut it off, on him anyway. But no, I thought, we raced each other with respect, raced hard, and when that on those restarts, when that one guy gets free, it's going to be very difficult for that second place guy to time up a run without a mistake or something on a short run like that to the end. So, I thought he did a good job, and it was respectful. And from my end, I don't really know what else you can ask for there.
All right, Dustin, go ahead.
Dustin Long, NBC Sports. Chase, with about 40 to go on that restart with the 18, you were on the inside. He chose the outside. He had the lane choice, and you were able to get by him. What were you able to do, or can you take me through that, and what worked for you at that point to be able to take the lead and take control of the race at that point?
Yeah, the 18 did it to the 19, a restart prior to that. So I felt like the opportunity was there to do it. If the circumstances go your way, unfortunately they did. So, once we got the lead there, it was just trying to control my gap to him, run my race, manage my tires the best I could, and not lose the lead. And then hope that a caution didn't come out. And I hate that it did, but it did, and fortunately it worked out for us.
So then, after that last caution, before the pit stops, were you already thinking of what you would be doing, and I'm assuming you would have taken the high side and had the 18 on the inside, or if he had stayed out, it would have been the two of you on the front row again.
Yeah.
Were you already thinking about how you would have played, or would you gone to the outside for the restart?
Yeah, I was thinking the outside. I felt like there was a difference in used tires versus fresh tires. I got the lead from him on fresh tires. He got the lead from Martin on fresh tires too. So that was the reasoning and why I did what I did.
So how surprised were you to see those cars pit behind you then?
I wasn't. Typically they're going to do the exact opposite of what you're doing. I feel like, everybody gave Alan a lot of crap for the 600 a few years ago or whatever, but like those people behind you are going to do the exact opposite of what you do. I don't know why that doesn't get through everyone's head, especially at a racetrack that has some tire wear. So you're in a very vulnerable position at that point. And two, like if the caution had come out 2 or 3 more times, we probably wouldn't have won because those guys would have kept cycling themselves forward. So say you get a caution twice and before you get the white flag, and next thing you know, you're sitting with a guy right behind you with 4 fresh tires with 1 lap on them, So then at that point, you're wishing you pitted. So those situations are just impossible to get right, and you knowing how the outcome is going to go is absolutely it's unachievable. So you try to make the best decision you can make and hope the cards go your way.
Last thing is, how comfortable are you feeling with this car? Certainly we've seen, nobody's really been able to be consistently strong too many weeks. Obviously you had 5 straight top 10s at one point, which is the longest streak of the season. What's your comfort level with this car and trying to build the consistency, and how is that, how are you dealing with it when it's different as opposed to maybe past years where you maybe had a higher comfort level?
Yeah, I think the difference is that the line to get it right is more thin than I think it has been in the past. So just finding comfort in living in a tighter tolerance is difficult to do. And even though some days you might be comfortable, it's still really easy to step outside that. Look at Charlotte. I felt like I was, not being very aggressive, and next thing you know, I made a mistake and hit the wall, and our day's over. It wasn't like at that point in time you're trying to do anything crazy in a 600-mile race, or at least I didn't think I was. And you can get yourself in a lot of trouble in a hurry in these things. So just trying to figure out where you can live and live there comfortably, and how to ratchet up your performance at the right time if that is something inside your car that you can pull out of it. And if it's not, taking what's there for you and not driving over your head, because like I say, this thing is it's pretty unforgiving in a lot of ways. Yep.
All right. Well, Chase, congratulations again on that victory. We really appreciate you spending some time with us, and best of luck next week in Road America.
Thank you. Y'all have a good night.